Listen carefully. If you ever miss the last bus home late at night, just walk. I know that sounds crazy, but after what happened to me, I would rather walk for hours in the dark than ever get on that bus again, because the people on it weren't normal, and the road it took doesn't exist on any map. My name is Tyler, and this happened during my second year of college in Ohio. I stayed late on campus one night, finishing a project. By the time I left the library, it was already raining. Cold rain, the kind that soaks through your hoodie in seconds. I checked the time. 12:41 a.m. I had already missed the last city bus. Or at least, that's what I thought. The streets were almost empty. Most stores were closed. The only sound were rain and distant traffic. I pulled out my phone to order a ride, but the app kept loading. No drivers nearby. Perfect. I sighed and started walking toward the main road. That's when I saw headlights. A bus. Old looking. White paint faded and dirty. It moved slowly through the rain and stopped right in front of me. I looked at the sign above the windshield. Black Hollow. I frowned. I had never heard of that route before. The doors opened with a loud hiss. The driver looked at me. Older guy. Gray skin. Sunken eyes. Getting on or not? He asked. His voice sounded rough, like he hadn't spoken in years. I hesitated. Something felt wrong immediately. The bus was almost empty, but every single passenger was staring at me. Not casually looking, actually staring. None of them blinked. None of them moved. Now listen, this is a moment I should have walked away, but it was freezing outside, and I just want to get home, so I stepped on the bus. The second I did, every passenger slowly looked away at the exact same time, like they were never staring in the first place. A cold feeling ran through my chest. I paid the fare and sat near the middle. The seats smelled old and damp. Rain tapped softly against the windows. The bus started moving again. At first, everything seemed normal, just quiet, too quiet. Nobody talked. Nobody used their phone. Nobody even moved. The only sound was the engine and rain outside. I looked around carefully. There were maybe 8 passengers total. A woman near the back, holding an umbrella in her lap. A man in a black coat, staring at the floor. An older woman, whispering something under her breath. And a little boy sitting alone near the front. That part bothered me the most, because no child should have been riding alone that late at night. Then I noticed something strange. None of them looked wet, not even a little. But outside, rain was pouring hard. I swallowed slowly. Maybe they got on earlier. Maybe I was overthinking. That's what I kept telling myself. Then suddenly, the little boy looked directly at me and smiled. Not a normal smile. Too wide, too still. Then he quietly said something. You're not supposed to be here. My stomach tightened instantly. What? I asked, but he turned away without answering. The bus kept moving. Streetlights disappeared one by one outside. Soon, there were no buildings anymore. Only trees. Dark, endless trees. I leaned forward and looked out the window. I didn't recognize the road at all. That's when I pulled out my phone. No signal. Not even one bar. My chest tightened. That wasn't possible. This road was still near the city. Then the bus slowed down. A stop appeared ahead. But it didn't look normal. No sign. No bench. Just an old dirt road leading into the woods. The doors opened. The man in the black coat stood up slowly. As he walked past me, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. His clothes were soaking wet, like he had just climbed out of a lake. Water dripped onto the floor with every step. But I swear, a second ago he was completely dry. He stopped beside my seat, slowly turned his head toward me, and whispered, "Don't fall asleep." Then he stepped off the bus and disappeared into the darkness. The doors closed. The bus kept moving. And that's when I realized something terrifying. The wet footprints he left behind were slowly disappearing on their own. I stared at the wet footprints on the floor. Every second, they faded more and more, until finally, they were gone. Completely gone. Like the man was never there. My chest tightened. Something was seriously wrong with this bus. I looked around again. Nobody reacted. Nobody even looked up. The passengers just sat there silently, still, like statues. Now listen carefully, because this is where things started getting truly terrifying. The bus kept driving deeper into the woods. No streetlights, no houses, nothing outside except darkness and trees. Rain hit the windows harder now. The sound filled the bus. I pulled out my phone again. Still no signal. Battery at 9%. Perfect. I looked toward the driver. "Hey, what stop is this bus going to?" I asked. No answer. The driver kept staring straight ahead. Hands tight on the wheel. Didn't even blink. "Sir," still nothing. Then suddenly, the old woman near the back stopped whispering. The entire bus went silent. Completely silent. And slowly, every passenger turned to look at me again. At the exact same time, my heart dropped. Nobody smiled. Nobody spoke. They just stared. Cold. Empty. Unmoving. Then the little boy near the front whispered softly. He asked a question. The old woman answered without looking away from me. That means it knows. A cold chill ran down my spine. "What are you talking about?" I said nervously. Nobody answered. The bus suddenly hit a bump hard. The lights flickered above us. For 1 second, everything went dark, and when the lights came back, every passenger was sitting closer to me. I froze. I know how crazy that sounds, but I swear they were closer. The woman with the umbrella was now only 2 rows behind me. The old woman was sitting across the aisle, and the little boy was standing now, slowly staring at me with that same wide smile. My breathing got heavier. "Stop the bus," I said loudly. The driver ignored me. "Stop the bus." Nothing. The engine only got louder. Then suddenly, the little boy spoke again. Once we reached Black Hollow, he smiled wider. "You stay?" My stomach dropped instantly. I stood up fast. The passengers watched me silently, not blinking, not moving. I rushed toward the front, toward the driver. That's when I noticed something horrifying. The driver's reflection in the windshield didn't match his face. His real face looked old and tired, but the reflection looked rotten. Sunken eyes, gray skin, and a huge twisted smile. I stumbled backward. The driver slowly turned his head toward me, and for the first time, he smiled too. "You weren't supposed to get on this bus," he whispered. Then the bus slowed down. I looked outside, and my blood ran cold. Ahead, through the rain and darkness, I saw a town. Old buildings. No lights. No people. A broken wooden sign stood near the road. Black Hollow. My chest tightened so hard it hurt. The bus doors opened slowly. Cold air rushed inside. Nobody moved. The driver pointed outside. "Last stop." I backed away immediately. No. The passengers started standing up one by one, slowly, still staring at me. The little boy pointed toward the door. "You have to get off." I turned and ran toward the emergency exit near the back. I pulled the handle hard. Nothing. Wouldn't open. Then suddenly, the lights inside the bus shut off completely. Darkness swallowed everything. People started whispering around me. Soft voices. Closed voices. Right beside my ears. "You shouldn't have come. You stay now. Don't leave." Hands touched my jacket. Cold hands. From the dark, I shoved forward blindly, panicking. Then lightning flashed outside the windows. For 1 second, I saw all of them standing in the aisle around me. Every passenger smiling, eyes completely black. The little boy standing closest of all. Then darkness again. I screamed and kicked the emergency door one last time. Crash. The door finally burst open. I jumped out of the moving bus, rolled hard across wet gravel. Pain shot through my arms and chest. But I got up immediately. The bus stopped ahead of me, its brake lights glowing red in the rain. For a second, everything went quiet. Then slowly, the bus doors opened again, and every passenger stood there staring at me from inside, not moving, just watching. Then the driver smiled one last time, and the bus pulled away into the darkness, gone within seconds. I stood there shaking in the rain for what felt like forever. Then finally, I saw headlights. A police car. The officer rolled down the window. "You okay?" he asked. I could barely speak. There was a bus. The officer frowned immediately. "What do the signs say?" I swallowed hard. "Black Hollow." The officer's face went pale. He stayed silent for a few seconds, then quietly said, "That route disappeared over 20 years ago. My chest tightened. What? He looked at me carefully. That bus crashed in the woods during a storm. Cold chills spread through my whole body. How many people died? I whispered. The officer stared at the dark road behind me, then said something I'll never forget. Everyone who got on. Listen carefully. If you ever stop at a cheap roadside motel late at night, and the place feels wrong, leave immediately. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how cheap the room is. Just leave, because sometimes you're not the only thing staying inside those walls. My name is Ryan, and this happened during a road trip through Arizona. I was driving alone from Nevada to Texas. Long drive, almost 12 hours on the road already. By midnight, I could barely keep my eyes open. The highway was empty. No gas stations nearby. No towns. Just darkness and desert. That's when I finally saw it. A small motel sign glowing beside the road. Sunset Inn. Vacancy. The place looked old. Very old. One floor. Flickering lights outside each room. Half the parking lot empty. Honestly, it looked like the kind of place people avoid. But I was exhausted. I just needed sleep. So I parked and walked to the front office. The moment I stepped inside, something felt off. The air smelled damp, like old carpet and dust. Behind the counter sat an older man watching a tiny TV. He looked up slowly. "You need a room?" he asked. His voice sounded dry and tired. "Yeah, just for the night." He stared at me for a second too long, then handed me a key. "Room 12. Now listen, this is the first thing that should have made me leave." As I grabbed the key, the old man quietly said, "If you hear knocking, don't answer." I laughed nervously. Okay. But he didn't smile, didn't joke, just stared at me, like he meant it. I walked back outside feeling uncomfortable already. The wind outside was cold. The motel felt too quiet. No people talking. No TVs. Nothing. Just wind and buzzing lights. I unlocked room 12 and stepped inside. Small room. Old furniture. Dim yellow lamp near the bed. Everything smelled stale. I dropped my bag and locked the door immediately. Something about that place made me uneasy. I checked the bathroom. Empty. Then I pulled the curtain aside and looked out the window. The parking lot was silent. But across from my room, someone was standing outside another door. Tall figure. Not moving. Just standing there. Watching my room. My chest tightened. I stared for a few seconds. Then the flickering motel light above him shut off for a second. Darkness covered him completely. When the light came back on, he was gone. I immediately locked the curtain shut. "Okay, nope," I whispered. I tried distracting myself with TV. Didn't help. The signal kept cutting out. Static every few seconds. Then around 2 a.m., I heard it. Scratch. Very soft. Inside the wall beside the bed. I froze. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Slow. Like something dragging across wood. At first I thought, rats. Old motels probably have mice or something. That's what I told myself. But then the scratching stopped, and I heard breathing. Very faint. Inside the wall. My stomach tightened instantly. I sat completely still, listening. Then suddenly, a soft knock hit the wall. 3 knocks. From inside. Not outside. Inside the wall. I slowly stood up from the bed, my heart pounding. "Hello," I whispered stupidly. Silence. Then, another knock. Closer this time. Right beside my headboard. "Knock. Knock. Knock." I backed away slowly, trying to breathe, trying to stay calm. Then I heard something that made my blood run cold. A voice. Very soft. Very weak. Coming from inside the wall. "Don't let them hear you." I froze. My entire body went cold. That voice. It came from inside the wall, right beside the bed. Very weak. Almost like someone whispering through layers of wood. "Don't let them hear you." I backed away slowly, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it. Now listen carefully, because this is where everything stopped feeling real. I stared at the wall for several seconds. Nothing moved. No more scratching. No breathing. Just silence again. I grabbed my phone immediately. No signal. Not even one bar. Perfect. I tried the motel Wi-Fi. Didn't work. The TV suddenly filled with loud static. I jumped and muted it instantly. The room felt smaller now, heavier, like the air itself changed. Then suddenly, knock, 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 this time from the front door. I froze again. 3 slow knocks, exactly the same rhythm. My eyes locked onto the door. Nobody spoke outside. No footsteps. Nothing. Then I remember what the old man said. If you hear knocking, don't answer. A cold chill ran through my chest. The knocking came again, slower this time. Knock, 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 then silence. I slowly walked toward the window and carefully moved the curtain aside a little. The parking lot outside was empty. No person standing outside my room. No movement anywhere. But then I noticed something horrifying. The shadow under my door. Someone was standing directly outside, completely still. I stepped back immediately. My breathing got heavier. The shadow didn't move, didn't shift, just stood there, watching. Then suddenly, the voice inside the wall whispered again, "Don't make noise." I turned toward the wall slowly, and that's when I saw it. The wallpaper near the bed was moving slightly. Like something underneath, it was pushing outward. My stomach dropped instantly. A shape slowly pressed against the wall from inside. Human-shaped, like someone trapped behind it. I stumbled backward in panic. Then the shape disappeared. The wall became flat again. Silence. Then the person outside my door started scratching, very slowly. Long scraping sounds across the wood. Scratch, scratch. I cover my mouth, trying not to breathe too loud. The scratching suddenly stopped. Then a voice spoke from outside the door. Low, calm. Open the door. My chest tightened instantly. It sounded wrong, not natural, like someone trying to imitate a human voice. I didn't answer. Then the voice repeated, "Ryan, open the door." My blood ran cold. I never told anyone my name. Then the whisper inside the wall suddenly became desperate. "Don't let it in." The doorknob slowly started turning. Left, right, left again. My heart felt like it would explode. Thankfully, the lock held. Then suddenly, the lights inside the room flickered. Once, twice. Then everything went dark. Complete darkness. I couldn't see anything. Then came the sound. Movement. Inside the walls. Not one thing. Multiple things. Moving fast around the room. Scratching. Crawling. Breathing. Inside every wall around me. I grabbed my flashlight from my bag and turned it on. The beam shook badly in my hand. And that's when I saw something that almost made me scream. The wall beside the bathroom was bulging outward, like multiple hands were pressing from inside, pushing against the wallpaper, trying to come through. Then the voice outside the door whispered softly, "We can hear your heart." I snapped. I grabbed my keys and ran for the window. I shoved it open hard. The cold desert air hit my face instantly. I climbed halfway out when suddenly, something grabbed the back of my jacket. I screamed and kicked backward blindly. The flashlight flew from my hand. For 1 second, I saw it, standing inside the dark room behind me. Tall, too thin, its face hidden in darkness. But its smile was huge. Then I ripped free and jumped out the window. I hit the ground hard and ran. Didn't look back. Didn't stop. I ran straight to my car. Locked the doors. Started the engine. As my headlights hit room 12, I froze. Every curtain in the motel was moving, like people inside every room were watching me. Then slowly, room 12's curtain pulled back, and dozens of pale faces stared out at me from inside the room, all smiling. I drove away immediately, faster than I ever have in my life. About 20 minutes later, I reached a gas station and told the cashier everything. The man stared at me silently for a few seconds, then asked one question. "What motel?" "Sunset Inn," I replied. The cashier's face went pale instantly. "That place burned down years ago," he whispered. Cold chills spread through my entire body. "What?" He nodded slowly. "People died there." I couldn't speak. Then the cashier quietly added, "They say if someone stops there at night." He looked directly at me. "The rooms try to keep them." Listen carefully. If your GPS ever changes routes in the middle of nowhere late at night, don't follow it. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care if it says it's a shortcut. Turn around immediately, because some roads aren't meant to be found, and some towns should stay lost forever. My name is Ethan, and this happened during a late-night drive through West Virginia. I was heading home after visiting a friend. Long drive, almost 5 hours already behind the wheel. By midnight, the roads were nearly empty, just forest, mountains, and long, dark highways. Rain started falling lightly against the windshield. The radio signal kept fading in and out. Honestly, I just wanted to get home. Then my GPS suddenly spoke. Faster route available. I glanced at the screen. It showed a shortcut that would save almost 40 minutes. The road ahead looked normal enough. A small side road cutting through the mountains. Without thinking much, I took it. Big mistake. At first, everything seemed fine. Narrow road, dense trees on both sides. No street lights. But after about 10 minutes, I realized something strange. There were no signs anymore. No gas stations. No houses. Nothing. Just endless forest. Then my signal disappeared completely. No bars. No internet. The GPS map itself started glitching. Road names vanished. The screen zoomed in and out by itself. My chest tightened slightly. Okay, that's weird. Then suddenly, the GPS voice changed. Not completely. Just different. Lower. Slower. Continue forward. The way it said it made me uncomfortable instantly. I looked around. The road felt wrong now. Too quiet. Even the rain had stopped. Then I noticed something else. No animals. No insects. Nothing. The woods were completely silent. Now listen carefully, because this is the moment I should have turned around. Up ahead, I saw lights. A small town. My shoulders relaxed a little. Finally, civilization. But as I drove closer, that feeling came back immediately. Something about the town felt empty. Old buildings lined both sides of the road. A diner, a gas station, a grocery store, but none of them looked open. Most lights were dim, and there were almost no cars. Then I noticed the people. A few of them stood outside the buildings, not talking, not moving, just watching my car slowly drive into town. Every single person turned their head as I passed. My stomach tightened. I kept driving slowly through the center of town. That's when I saw the sign. Welcome to Ash Crook. Population 312. I frowned. I had never heard of this place before, and I traveled through West Virginia all the time. Then suddenly, my GPS shut off completely. Black screen. The car radio filled with static, and every streetlight around me flickered once. The entire town seemed to go darker for a second, then normal again. My hands tightened on the wheel. Nope, I whispered. I decided to turn around immediately, but when I checked the road behind me, my chest dropped. The road I came from was gone. Not blocked. Gone. Only more buildings and dark streets behind me. I hit the brakes hard. My breathing got faster. That wasn't possible. I know the road was there. Then suddenly, someone knocked on my driver's side window. I nearly jumped out of my seat. An older woman stood outside smiling at me. I hadn't even seen her walk up. Her smile looked forced. Too still. You're lost, she said softly. I swallowed hard. Yeah, I'm trying to leave town. The woman's smile slowly faded. Then she quietly said something that made my blood run cold. You shouldn't drive here after dark. The woman kept staring at me through the rain-speckled window, not blinking, not moving, just staring. Then she leaned a little closer and whispered, people who arrive after midnight usually don't leave. A cold wave ran through my entire body. I forced a nervous laugh. Okay, look, I just need the main road. The woman's expression didn't change. You won't find it tonight. Then she slowly stepped backward into the darkness between two buildings and disappeared. Not walked away. Disappeared. I locked the doors immediately. My hands were shaking now. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to get out of that town. Fast. I slammed the car into reverse. But the second I moved, the GPS screen suddenly turned back on by itself. Static hissed through the speakers. Then the same distorted voice returned. Do not leave the route. My stomach dropped. Nope. I hit the gas. The car sped down the nearest street, but every turn led somewhere wrong. Every road curved back into town. I passed the diner 3 different times. The same flickering gas station, the same grocery store, and every time, those people were still standing there, watching, not moving, not speaking, just following me with their eyes. Then I noticed something horrifying. There were more of them now. At first maybe 5 or 6, now dozens, standing silently along the sidewalks. Some old, some young, all staring directly at me. My breathing became uneven. I pulled out my phone again. Still no signal. But this time, the screen suddenly lit up by itself. A notification appeared. Unknown location detected. Then another message. Turn off your headlights. I stared at the phone in disbelief. What the hell? That's when every streetlight in town shut off at once. Darkness swallowed everything. My headlights became the only light left. And suddenly, all the people were gone. Completely gone. The streets were empty again. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. Then came the sound. Knocking. Soft at first. Tap, tap, tap. Not outside. Inside the car. From the back seat. Every muscle in my body locked up. Slowly, I looked into the rearview mirror and saw someone sitting behind me. A pale man in old-fashioned clothes. Water dripping from his face. His eyes completely black. He smiled slowly. Then the GPS spoke again. You have arrived. I screamed and slammed on the brakes. The figure vanished instantly, but the car engine died. Everything shut off. No lights. No radio. Nothing. Only darkness outside. Then, all around the car, I saw movement. Shapes emerging from fog. Dozens of people slowly surrounding the vehicle. Their faces blank. Their movements unnatural. Like puppets being pulled forward. One of them stepped into the headlights. It was the old woman again. But now her smile stretched far too wide. Wider than any human mouth should. You stayed too long, she whispered. Then every person outside the car began knocking at the same time. Bang, bang, bang. The entire vehicle shook violently. Windows cracking. Hands slamming against the glass from every side. I panicked and turned the key again. Nothing. Again. Nothing. The knocking grew louder. The windshield cracked down the center. And then suddenly, the GPS screen flashed bright white. One final message appeared. Route recalculating. The engine roared back to life instantly. I didn't think. I floored the gas pedal. The car shot forward through the crowd. The figures moved unnaturally fast around me. Some slammed against the sides of the car. Others chased behind me in the darkness. The road twisted sharply through the woods. Trees blurred past. The GPS kept screaming directions in that distorted voice. Keep driving. Do not stop. Do not look back. I gripped the wheel so hard my fingers hurt. Then suddenly, I saw highway lights ahead. Real lights. The main road. I burst out onto the empty highway at full speed. The second my tires hit the pavement, everything went silent. The GPS shut off completely. The radio returned to normal, and my phone signal came back instantly. I kept driving for nearly an hour before finally stopping at a gas station. I was shaking so badly I could barely stand. The cashier asked if I was okay. I told him I got lost in a town called Ashcrook. The man's face immediately changed. He slowly frowned, then said, "Sir, there's no town in West Virginia called Ashcrook." I felt cold all over. I searched for it online. Nothing. No maps. No records. No photos. Nothing. But here's the part that still keeps me awake at night. A few weeks later, I checked my car's dashcam footage. Most of it was corrupted, static, black screen, distorted audio. But near the end, for exactly 2 seconds, the camera captured the welcome sign clearly. Welcome to Ashcrook. Population 313. And if you're wondering why the number changed, I still don't know. Because when I entered that town, the sign definitely said 312. And before you go, if this story gave you chills, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Because tonight's story might be fake. But somewhere out there, someone could be taking that same wrong turn right now. So next time your GPS offers a shortcut in the middle of nowhere, Ask yourself one thing. What if it's trying to take you somewhere that doesn't want you to leave?